Got a lot of pictures. I hope I can get it all squeezed in that minute.
Yeah, we're pretty tight on time. Like real tight on time.
Really?
Like we're over already.
Okay.
Like 20 seconds.
With coverage you can count on, this is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 11. With coverage you can count on, this is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 11 in HD.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cameron Taylor. Thank you for joining us tonight. No snow in the immediate area, but other places here in the Tennessee Valley did receive at least a dusting. Let's get a first look at the forecast with Storm Alert meteorologist Nick Austin. Hey, Nick.
Cameron, thanks. Right now there is still some snow on the radar. We'll go right to it and show you where it's falling right now. We see the areas of white up north of the city. This is across the Pikeville area, just east of Pikeville now, heading into Dayton, Spring City, and a few spots across McMinn County as well, where you see the white and the gray there on the radar. That is indicating at least some flurries and light snowfall that's still falling. We have gotten some reports that the snow is actually reaching the ground in some of these areas. It's all moving to the south and east. Now, further south of these areas in the valleys and here in the city, not much happening. We've had a few sprinkles and a few wet snowflakes here and there, and a few spots of sleet that were reported earlier, and a few spots as well. It's all going to fade out during the overnight hours. I want to show you just a couple of pictures. We only have time for two. I wish I could show you a lot more. We've had some good pictures sent by viewers. But this was sent from Taylor up in Pikeville, a really good coating, maybe even a solid half-inch of snow or so on the ground, and her 2-year-old girl. What a cute picture. She was really enjoying that snow up there. That was from earlier today in the morning. And also from earlier today, South Catoosa County. This is from Scotty Knight. That sleet, a nice little coating of sleet that fell there. But right here in the city, it's just cloudy, 41 degrees at the airport. It feels like it's 35 with the wind, and the breezes will keep up through the night. All the snow and the sprinkles and flurries out there will fade out overnight. I'll have more in your Monday forecast coming out next.
All right, thank you, Nick. We'll see you later in the show. Well, the winter weather is causing a few school systems to delay or cancel classes tomorrow. In North Carolina, Cherokee County schools are closed. Teachers have an optional work day. Back home here in Tennessee, in Polk County, the Basin area schools are on a 2-hour delay. Bledsoe County schools are closed on Monday as well. And Grundy County schools are on a 2-hour delay. For all the latest closings and delays, head to our website, wrcbtv.com. Well, Chattanooga police are working a crash on Highway 153 north at Highway 27. We want to show you a live look from a TDOT camera right here. Multiple vehicle crash happened around 10:30 tonight. Now, TDOT expects it to be cleared in the next 30 minutes or so. And if you're traveling north in this area, the right lane is blocked. Bradley County Sheriff's deputies are trying to find out who is responsible for intentionally setting a church on fire. It happened on Rabbit Valley Road at Christians Outreach around 2:30 this morning. Channel 3's Tanisha Cordell spoke with the church's pastor and neighbors who say they're at a loss for words.
Crime scene tape and charred wood surround this church, Christian Outreach, after 7 years of service, a heartbreaking sight for many in the area. Around 2:30 Sunday morning, neighbors along Rabbit Valley Road woke to flashing lights and massive flames.
And you could see the lights flashing up against the wall through the living room window, and it was the entire inside of my living room was lit up like a Christmas tree.
After receiving a 911 call reporting a burglary in progress at Christian Outreach, firefighters and Bradley County deputies arrived and saw heavy smoke spilling out of the church.
There were fire trucks all the way down the road that way and all the way down that road that way. And I was like, what is going on?
There was a big flame on that first end there, just blazing,
Deputies say witnesses saw a person running away towards the woods. This picture from surveillance video shows a person inside the church before it caught fire. The church's pastor, Seglinda Sherrill, was too overwhelmed to speak with us on camera. She says the church has been broken into 4 times in the past 2 weeks. She estimates the fire caused up to $30,000 in damage to the inside of the building alone. Additional damage can be seen outside in melted siding and scattered insulation. Arson signs are posted detailing the $5,000 cash reward investigators are offering. Cheryl is praying for justice while neighbors count their blessings.
Just praying that nobody got hurt. And if nobody got hurt, that's probably the best silver lining you can ask for.
In Bradley County, Tanisha Cordell, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Tanisha. Now, on Friday, police charged a juvenile with burglary at the church. And a well-known bakery is boarded up after a pickup truck ran into it tonight. It happened just before 8 o'clock on Broad Street. Chattanooga police say 2 people were inside the pickup when it hit the building. Now, Cook's Bakery was closed at the time, but the owner tells us she was in an apartment next to the building. The bakery does have some structural damage from the crash. Owner Barbara Davis says she plans to reopen as soon as possible.
When I get open, just come back in and buy some donuts or something. And Chattanooga has been so good to me.
Now, no one was hurt in the crash. We'll continue to update this story online at WRCBTV.com and on our app. A teen who has been hurt from 2 other shootings is recovering from a third tonight. Chattanooga police say 19-year-old Keionta Walker was found with multiple gunshot wounds on East 26th Street. We're told he's expected to be okay. Now, you may remember Walker was shot twice in 1 week back in June. Police told us then he was shot in the leg as he was trying to get in a car. A few days later, in the arm while he was sleeping. Police say 1 person was detained for questioning in today's shooting. If you have any information, call Chattanooga Police. A standoff in Dade County lasted several hours today. A Dade County Sheriff's deputy tells Channel 3 it began around 2 this afternoon in the parking lot of Piney Grove Baptist Church in Trenton. Now, a family member called authorities saying the man wanted to harm himself. He refused to leave the vehicle. Now, after some negotiations, he did leave it and was taken to the hospital. Tomorrow night, Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam will present his 7th State of the State address to lawmakers. Haslam's press secretary tells us he'll be talking about several initiatives. One includes a plan to cut taxes on food and manufacturing. He'll also give an update on how the state provides a safe and reliable transportation network needed to support future job growth. Another part of the governor's speech will address improving access to broadband for rural Tennesseans. He's set to deliver the State of the State in Nashville around 6 o'clock Central Time. And the Atlanta Falcons landed in Houston this afternoon ahead of next Sunday's Super Bowl 51 showdown with the New England Patriots. Sports reporter Jill Jonick has more.
It's been 18 years since the Falcons have played on football's biggest stage. And now, just 1 week from today, Atlanta will be trying to capture its first ever Super Bowl title. A sea of red and black filled the streets of Midtown Atlanta Sunday afternoon as the birds officially left the nest for Houston, hoping the next time they see their city, they'll be Super Bowl champs.
Really excited for Atlanta to be in the Super Bowl. We're going to go get that W. That's what this is all about. This is the energy of Atlanta coming to Houston.
The Falcons now have a long week of media and prep work ahead of them before taking on the New England Patriots for the 51st battle of the Lombardi Trophy.
And we're playing against a great team. So this team's beating everybody. They're just a great football team.
Their defense is really, really good. When we've watched them, they've done a great job of keeping people out of the end zone, keeping people from scoring points. I think our defense is playing really well right now, too.
Having been to the Super Bowl 8 times, experience is on New England's side. But head coach Dan Quinn gave his Falcons 3 keys to help stay grounded during the hectic week.
To fall back on as you're getting ready. One, it's that brotherhood, and that's them relying on one another to get ready. The second thing, the key that I gave them was do what we do. And then the third thing, as I said, celebrating is for post games, not before.
Brothership on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Brothership! And Channel 3's own Paul Shaheen and Jill Jelnick will be in Houston bringing you the sights, sounds, and highlights of Super Bowl 51. That's beginning this Friday. Well, coming up next on Eyewitness News at 11, some areas of the Tennessee Valley have received winter precipitation. Storm alert meteorologist Nick Austin will let us know if it will affect our morning commute.
There's snow on the ground in parts of the Tennessee Valley and across our region tonight. This picture comes to us from the Watsons up on Wheeler Mountain near Pikeville. A very, very solid coating of snow on the ground, maybe a half an inch or a little bit more on the ground. That's on their back patio there, their back porch. So a very nice picture there. I wish I could show you so many more, but we're a little short on time tonight. We're just going to get right to the weather and tell you about the forecast. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s across the state right now. It's 41 here in Chattanooga. That's not bad. Although those northwesterly winds now close to 10 miles an hour, it's making it feel like it's just a little bit above freezing. So there is a nip in the air. 39 Cleveland, 36 Athens, right at the freezing mark. up in Altamont at this hour. For your school day forecast tomorrow as the kids head back to school. Here in the city, it will be a cold start. They'll need to bundle up, but there won't be any snow or rain around, just some clouds, 33 degrees and then upper 40s for the ride home. So still a chilly afternoon despite the sunshine coming back. Areas of at least light snow and flurries now moving out of Ray County, northern parts of Bradley County, and over into Monroe County there. Maybe a few of those flurries are heading towards Benton in a little while. I meant to show you the big radar picture, but the rest of the viewing area, not seeing a whole lot. It's starting to fade away or change over to some light rain where temperatures are warm enough. And as we go through the rest of the overnight hours here after midnight, we're going to see everything fade away even more. It's all going to come to an end. So if you're still seeing flurries or just sprinkles in the warmer spots, it's all going to fade away through the overnight hours. And we'll see sunshine coming back tomorrow after a few clouds early in the day. It won't be quite as windy tomorrow, but it'll still be breezy from time to time, just not quite as bad as it was over the weekend. And as we head into Monday night, Tuesday, still looking good. So we have lots of fair weather and pleasant conditions coming back as we head through the day tomorrow. High today was 47 after a low of 36. No precipitation at the airport. It was just a trace of rainfall. So that's really hardly anything to mention there. And for the month, we've had almost 5 inches. So we're ahead of the game for the month, actually. 1/10 of an inch for Trenton and Dalton. That was mostly rain. But Varnell and a few other spots in northern Georgia had a little bit of sleet earlier. For Fort Mountain, Floyd, our skywatcher there, 3/10, about 1/3 of an inch. That was snowfall, though, and it came in a pretty quick burst in just a short amount of time. 46 the high in Delano, 46 East Ridge. Red Bank topped out near 50 degrees. And a few other spots, including Cleveland and here near Red Bank, had a little bit of wet snowflakes or isolated spots of sleet, too. So we had a little bit of that true wintry mix today across the region. 40 was the high in Cagle Mountain, 45 out in Turtletown, and Spring City topped out at 46. Here in the city for the rest of tonight, still some clouds, and it'll get chilly down to about 32 for a low later tonight. Still a little breezy at times. Can't rule out a few snow flurries, but that'll be gone by early morning. Sunshine comes back tomorrow, but still need to bundle up, high of just 49, and then down to 34 tomorrow night with a few clouds. Your 7-day forecast has warmer weather for Tuesday and Wednesday. If you didn't like it out there today, Tuesday and Wednesday high temperatures right around 60 degrees. Try and get that 7-day forecast to pop up there. Really want folks to see it. Come on, computer. Cooperate. There we go. I knew it would happen at some point. 60 Tuesday and Wednesday with some clouds and plenty of sunshine during the day too, though. Groundhog Day, there could be a shower early in the day. So Chattanooga Chuck might not see his shadow on Thursday morning. But Friday, a better chance for some rain, and then again maybe for the second half of the weekend. We'll see about that. Late week rain, the timing is still a little bit up in the air, but we'll tweak that forecast through the week.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nick.
You bet.
Well, President Trump's immigration orders ignited protests across the country. In Philadelphia, the airport's international terminal was jammed, while outside, demonstrators blocked traffic in and out of the airport. Now, snow and frigid temperatures did not stop a demonstration in Cleveland, while protesters in Orlando chanted, "Islamophobia has got to go." And in Nashville, people took to the streets near Centennial Park to protest the president's new order.
No ban, no wall, no ban, no wall.
Along West End and Murphy Road, the chants rang loud and clear.
No bans, no wall, no bans, no wall.
Thousands united in common cause.
This is a country of immigrants, and my people were immigrants. Everybody's people were immigrants, and it's important that we show the rest of the world who we are.
It shouldn't be allowed in this country. It's racist, it's discrimination, that shouldn't be allowed.
Signs, banners, and a wall of humanity lined up in front of Senator Lamar Alexander and Senator Bob Corker's offices. In what appears to be an about-face from one of the executive order's key components, White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus said green card holders from the 7 banned countries would not be prevented from returning to the United States going forward.
America is just a country for immigrants, built by immigrants, and that's what we all stand for. So, no ban, no wall.
When the sun set, the protesters started to march down West End, with the help of a large Metro Police escort, as they chanted into the night.
And That was Edward Birch reporting. Late today, the president issued a statement saying his policy is similar to what President Obama did in 2011 when he banned visas for Iraqi refugees for 6 months and said this is not about religion, it's about keeping our country safe. Well, Tennessee lawmakers are responding to President Trump's recent executive order. Senator Lamar Alexander issued a statement saying in part, quote, while not explicitly a religious test, it comes close to one which is inconsistent with our American character. Senator Bob Corker also responded saying in part, quote, we all share a desire to protect the American people, but this executive order has been poorly implemented, especially with respect to green card holders. You can read their full statements on our website, WRCBTV.com. Well, up next in sports, the Mocs struggled on the road this weekend against SoCon rival ETSU. Hear what head coach Matt McCall had to say after the game. Plus, your favorite NFL stars went head-to-head tonight in the 2017 Pro Bowl. Our Jill Jelnick has highlights and more when we come back.
The Falcons have left the nest. We are exactly 1 week out from Super Bowl 51, and as we mentioned earlier, the Atlanta Falcons were the first team to arrive in Houston ahead of the big game. The team touched down around 3 p.m. and went straight from the plane to buses. Now, get this, the players and the coaching staff weren't the only ones from the organization going to Houston this week. Falcons owner Arthur Blank paid to bring along every single member of the Falcons organization on what they hope is a trip to remember. The Patriots will arrive in Houston first thing tomorrow. Be sure to stay with WRCB Sports all this week as we continue our Super Bowl 51 coverage. Saturday was not your typical day for UTC basketball. Both the Lady Mocs and the Mocs fell on the road to Southern Conference opponents, the women to Furman and the men to ETSU. Over in Johnson City last night, UTC was hoping to bounce back from its upset loss to VMI earlier in the week, but instead they were handed back-to-back losses for the first time this season. The Bucks and Mocs were all tied up at halftime before ETSU built up a 7-point lead off back-to-back dunks. UTC was able to answer with a run of its own, tying it up again, but the Bucks then regained the lead with 4 minutes left and never gave it back. Greg Pryor led all scorers with 21 points on the night, but even that wasn't enough to upset the Mocs' 16 turnovers.
No, we can't turn the ball over like that and expect to win on the road. You can't do that. Not in a place like this, in a building like this, in an environment like this. You got to be sharper, crisper on offense.
With the loss, the Mocs now fall to 6-3 in SoCon play, putting them in 4th place in the conference. Up next, UTC will host UNCG this Thursday. Meanwhile, Tennessee basketball had hands down its best week of the season. First, the Vols took down top-ranked Kentucky on Tuesday. Then they turned around and handed Kansas State a 12-point spanking. Needless to say, it's a huge step for the youthful Vols.
We won a game today against a really good basketball team. We told our team that in some ways they're as tough as anybody that will play. And if you go back and look up until today, they were, really 4 or 5 points from being an undefeated team. And what we've done really the last 2 games for certain and 3 really is when teams have made a push back at us, we've been able to handle it. And I think our players are starting to understand that no lead is big enough.
Tennessee will now spend this next week on the road, taking on Auburn and Mississippi State. Well, Red Bank native and UTC All-American Keionta Davis made quite the impression at Reese's Senior Bowl Saturday afternoon. The defensive end had been practicing with the South team all week in Mobile, Alabama, before the annual All-Star game. Davis made his mark late in the first half here by coming up with this huge sack, taking down C.J. Beathard from Iowa to bring up the 4th down. Davis also deflected a pass late in the game that led to an interception to help seal the win for the South. Afterwards, his mom was able to join him on the field with one last question as a college athlete.
How do you feel about this being your last game wearing the logo C on your helmet?
Y'all trying to make me cry out here. I love Chattanooga. For that 22 years, man, I gave my all. So I thank everybody there for helping me along the way, and I wish the best for Chattanooga. I'm always be in touch, I'm always going to rep that C, so I'm here.
Looking forward to him competing at the next level someday. And speaking of that next level, the 2017 Pro Bowl just wrapped up moments ago in Orlando. It was the debut for the new host city, who will have the annual event in the upcoming years. This year's Pro Bowl returned to the traditional AFC versus NFC format after 3 years experimenting with a fantasy draft. 5 Titans were selected Pro Bowlers, including tight end Delaney Walker there, who caught that touchdown pass from Alex Smith for the first points of the game. Doug Baldwin would add a touchdown for the NFC, while Travis Kelce's touchdown from Andy Dalton would give the AFC lead a 7-point lead. AFC would go on to win it from there 20-13 that final. All right, that's it for sports. One last look at your weather when we come back.
All right, Nick's back on. Nick, let's talk about that upcoming 7-day forecast.
That's right. We'll take a look at it. No travel problems in the city for tomorrow, but you know where you are if you have snow on the ground, if you got some of that today, so you will need some extra time. There will be some slick roads where the snow fell. It's going to get cold overnight, 32 in the city, 49 chilly tomorrow, but sunshine comes back up to 60 Tuesday and Wednesday. Looks like Chattanooga Chuck Thursday morning. It could be cloudy enough that he won't see a shadow. That means we'll have an early spring. We'll see how that goes.
I don't think people would mind that. All right, we haven't seen much of a winter anyway.
True.
All right. Well, a Minnesota father decided to get a bit creative to avoid getting a pet iguana by using some of that white fluffy stuff some of you might be seeing on the ground tonight.
Cool. Okay, I like this. Let's hear him out. Mike Zempel and his 3 sons built a snow dinosaur instead at their home. The snow sculpture is, get this, 20 feet long, 10 feet high.
Basically, there's now a stegosaurus that sits in the Zempel family's front yard. Pretty cool. Took about 5 hours to make. All right. That's it for us. We'll see you. Have a good night.
The Falcons have left the nest. We are less than a week out from Super Bowl 51, and Atlanta was the first team to arrive in Houston ahead of the big game. The team touched down Sunday afternoon around 3 p.m. and went straight from the plane to the buses. Now, get this, the players and coaching staff aren't the only ones from the organization in Houston this week. Falcons owner Arthur Blank paid to bring along every single member of the organization on what they hope is a trip to remember. The Patriots will arrive in Houston today. Stay with our WRCB Sports all this week as we continue our Super Bowl 51 coverage. Well, the Tennessee men's basketball team had, hands down, its best week of the season this last week. First, the Vols took down top-ranked Kentucky last Tuesday. Then they turned around and handed Kansas State a 12-point spanking. Needless to say, it's a huge step for the youthful Vols.
We won a game today against a really good basketball team. We told our team that in some ways they're as tough as anybody that will play. And you go back and look up until today, they were, really 4 or 5 points from being an undefeated team. And what we've done really the last 2 games for certain and 3 really is when teams have made a push back at us, we've been able to handle it. And I think our players are starting to understand that no lead is big enough.
Tennessee will now spend this upcoming week on the road, taking on Auburn and Mississippi State. Red Bank native and UTC All-American Keionta Davis made quite the impression at Reese's Senior Bowl this weekend. The defensive end had been practicing with the South team all week in Mobile, Alabama, before the annual All-Star Game Saturday. Davis made his mark late in the first half by coming up with this big sack, taking down C.J. Beathard from Iowa to bring up 4th down. Davis also deflected a pass late in the game that led to an interception to help seal the win for the South. Afterwards, Keionta's mom was able to join him on the field with one last question for the college athlete.
How do you feel about this being your last game wearing the logo C on your helmet?
Y'all trying to make me cry out here. I love Chattanooga. For that 22 years, man, I gave my all. So